It's time once again to go racing.
The pressure is really on now.
And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal. Go, go, go!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 29. This is the pre-season race on PlayStation. We head to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia for the Spanish Grand Prix. We have a combined grid of drivers here tonight. We mostly have drivers from the PSF2 tier. We also have drivers from the PSF1 as well. But they all have the same purpose, to size up the competition and get themselves ready for the season opener next week in Bahrain. We got some familiar faces on the grid this season, some returning faces and some new faces as well. But what hasn't changed is who is joining me in the commentary box for this season. It is, of course, Mr. Owen Wyatt. How you doing? And I think it's either my Discord that's playing up or it's his Discord, but I'm sure he will join us in a minute. But this is very, very exciting. A track full of great corners and some great drivers on the grid. Some drivers have won champions in the past. We got a runner-up from F1 last season as well. And we, of course, got some F2 drivers from seasons gone by. And we also got Ash Best as well, who was in F1 last season, made the drop to F2 this season as well. We'll see how he does in a tier below him, because he probably was not expecting to be F2, but here he is as well. And we also got some new drivers who are here to prove their worth as well. So without further ado, we'll head to the qualifying session, and hopefully it might just be my Discord playing up because I can't hear anything. Or it might be just his Discord. Let me just give me a moment as I actually switch the scenes around. Or it might be that his microphone's muted, I don't know, because I can't hear a word. But I do.
I don't want to talk over you. I think you'll be able to hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you as well. Hello, Aaron. How you doing?
Yes, well, that's good. We've got these issues out of the way early, isn't it? But yes, we're all good now.
Yeah, that is good. Glad to have you here again in the commentary box this season, Aaron, and for the pre-season race. And good to size up the competition, ready for the pre-season opener as well. And what can you expect for some of these drivers who have probably never raced a PSGL race in one of the top tiers and are ready to actually get warmed up?
Well, look, this is where everyone's going to be feeling each other out, seeing who's strong where. Obviously, we've got a mix where, yeah, as much as we'll say, oh, it's pre-season, no, it's not serious yet. Trust me, they will take this as seriously as possible. It's because Izzle sticks it into the wall straight away. You can see they're clearly pushing out there, so they're gonna. This is going to be relatively representative, I think, for most of them anyway. I'm sure there'll be one or two who might sandbag, but yeah, it'll certainly be a decent race because they can't just back up because they don't want to catch each other off guard and find themselves not knowing who their rivals are. They've got to take every advantage possible. We know how much these guys need it. This is almost the gateway to esports now, so they've really got to be on it and they've got to know they're strong.
Yeah, these are basically the stars of the future. This is the next step into getting into F1 esports. If you get into either F2 or F1 in any of the platforms this season in PSGL, then really you're set for great things, I would say, as we've got VSR Duncan setting the benchmark at the moment with a 1:14.3. We'll go through our drivers. So we've got in the Mercedes tonight, we've got VSR Duncan from F1 and Lars, who is making a return after a few races off. He got banned last season, but luckily the admins allowed him back. In the Red Bull, we got Cornet or Corn. I don't know how you say it. I do apologise. I always get the names wrong. He's not normally in the Red Bull for this season, but he's going to be in the Mert from next week. But the Mert was taken by Duncan, but he's in the Red Bull tonight, along with Virzar Zander, who was the F2 champion from last season. In the McLaren, we got Fabi and Ash Best, both in F2. We've also got in the Ferrari, Kazizel and Daniel, both from F2. Aston Martin, we've got Juice from F1, and we've got Hadler from F2. Hadler actually won a race last season in Baku, of all places, as well. The race was very, very crazy, I can tell you that. One of the races of the season. Alpine, we've got Benjamin. I believe that's CLG Benjamin, yes. F2 champion from season 27. I'm trying to get my facts right. Yeah, it is. I should know because I commentated on it. And we're joining him is XMXI in the Alpine. In the Alfa Romeo, we got F2 reserve from last season. F1 this season, we got VRT Georges, who's in the Alfa Romeo with WOR Riss. I will get these names right by the end of the season. I will, I promise. In the Alpha Tower, we've got CC Brain from F2, and we got Will G from F1. In the Haas, we've got Danny Ricco in F1 and Izzo in F2. And then in the Williams, we've got VSR Jordan from F1 and MMT Louis, who was in F2 in season 27, but dropped down a few tiers last season, but he's now back in F2. Great to have him here. Quite a good grid we have as well. And looking at the tyre choices at the moment, I'm surprised quite a few people have gone for the soft, because it's not the best track to go on the soft around here, because I've done a few My Team races and it's absolutely awful. It's either a Marmite track, you either love it or you hate it.
Well, this is it. It's a track I've actually sort of grown to like a little bit more now, but certainly these tyre choices, they are surprising me, people being on the soft. Maybe they fancy a two-stop, maybe they think that's a faster way of going around it. But yeah, we'll see how they all get on. Nice to see they're all close. We got used to this quite a lot, didn't we, last season, with qualifying sessions just being stupidly close. And we're going to get that again today, but yeah, it's a track that's more enjoyable to drive on this game. I hope the drivers do have a good time with this one, but yeah. Nice and close. No one on mediums yet, but they could be sandbagging. I never know with these guys anymore. They turn around a second quicker than me now. It's very embarrassing. But yeah, we'll see what they do.
Yeah, we'll find someone on a lap. I believe Danny Ricco is going to be on the lap very, very soon. He was a driver that really impressed me in the social race last week. The social race which Connor and Krypton were keeping a close eye on for placements, just to give them a rough idea. Massive shout out to those two for getting the placements done in time. They had to deal with 13 PS tiers and 5 PC tiers, which is quite a lot. So good job for them, and I hope they took a well-earned break for the weekend before the season starts in earnest on Wednesday for the PC side. So you're heading towards turn 1, clipping the curb very nicely a little bit as well. There's plenty of corners where if you hit the curb too much now, you're probably going to end up in a spin. Now, we've seen many drivers spin a lot today compared to previous seasons on the game around Spain. So something to watch out for. Another track which can catch a lot of people off guard in terms of curves. Belgium as well, bus stop, chicane, Silverstone as well, and lots of other tracks, maybe Australia as well, but Australia is a track which is towards the end of the F1 calendar now on the game. Not in real life, of course, because that's cancelled. Heading past turn 9, sometimes you can go full throttle on there and send it, but sometimes that does not work. It depends on your setup, of course. Heading towards turn 12 and 13, again, a higher gradient, but he's planted the car very nicely. We'll see how he compares to the F2 guys as well, because he's got a steep learning curve being an F1 on his first season in PSGL. Coming across the line now, let's see what his lap time compares to the others. And it is pole position, 114.3. The dark horse of last week's race is definitely the dark horse of this season's pre-season race around Spain. And at the moment, matching Duncan's times even quicker by a few hundredths of a second.
Yeah, it's a good lap there from Damrico. Good stuff. As you're saying about the corners and the curbs, I think we did say about turn 9. It's a corner that just isn't quite flat. I don't think they'll have the confidence to go for it flat. I'm sure someone will try it, but the problem is, even if you stay up in track limits, if you just stray a little too wide, the car bounces off the curb, as you say. The curbs are so aggressive, and you'll be in the wall so easily. It's probably the most difficult corner on this track, one of the most difficult corners in the game. And they've really got to push the limits for that one, but I'm sure someone will get it flat. But like I say, they're all very good at finding the right setups, but it's certainly a corner I haven't been able to get through, as we've got another quick time. We're getting slowly closer to the 1 minute 13s. I wonder if we will get there towards the end of the session. Might be a bit of a stretch, but we'll see how they all get on. Quite a lot of people are on out laps at the minute, so a few laps that have been set on the board, possibly a bit out of sequence. But I'm sure they'll all be able to get themselves through for a final run anyway. Trying to see if I can actually find somebody who's on a proper lap, or we can even catch another lap on board or something. I think Kazizel's just started one. We can follow him in the Ferrari. Just followed the Haas. We'll see if we can follow another driver and go P1. Just like Dan Rico did. Maybe it'll be a reverse commentator's curse for once, Jess.
Yeah, because as you know, and Owen knows as well, every time I commentate on a hot lap, someone either spins or invalidates. Pretty much 9 times out of 10 last season. So I tried out one and it worked. So the next set of corners, you pass turn 5, and then you're heading towards a king of turn 6. I don't know why they call it a turn. I don't know, but that's what F1 thinks anyway as well. A little bit of a slide there. Now, high-speed right-hander is all about commitment, as we were saying earlier, picking the right turn in point to carry as much speed through the corner as possible, and through turn 10 as well. Unfortunately, the corners which were in the real life version of the tracks, they changed it. It's not on this version of the game, just like Australia's modified version as well. I kind of wish they changed that, because they got 3 new tracks to the game. I thought they would have had modifications to some of the other tracks, but another topic for another day, because this all comes across the line. He was last, and now he's 5th position, 1:14.5. Some of these drivers can actually get into on F1 on their day, but obviously there's only 20 spaces in F1, and there's potentially, I think according to Conor, there was 37 drivers that potentially could have been in the running for F1, but only 20 spots, so that's insane. With our F2 champion currently sitting in P3 as VSR Juice comes across the line with a 1:14.1. I'm almost certain 1:13 is possible. I'm a bit worried they don't have any softs left, because they don't have the tyre options compared to last season's game, where they have obviously either the softer, the balanced and the harder. This season they only have the balance. They have 3 softs and 1 medium, so not a lot to go by, and I'm sure certain drivers will be going on a few laps on a used set of soft, but they don't really want to be using it for the race if they're inside the top 10, as Haller tries to move out the way of the Haas car, and he's almost gone on into the runoff area as well. But I'm seeing a few surprises up near the top. VRT Daniel as well in 7th position, doing quite well. It's good to pick out the competition early on, but we don't know the predictions this early on. Like, we couldn't have predicted Suku, who's in the grid this season, to be runner-up by 1 point to the winner Ballina. I just wouldn't have predicted with that crazy race we had at Brazil last season. If you haven't watched it, please make sure you check it out, obviously, after the stream, because it was the closest F2 battles that I commentated on. Xander, who was our F2 champion, did not win a single race, and typical that you'll probably might win tonight, but probably might not never win again. But let's hope he does win in F1 this season, because that would be amazing to see how far he's come. He was a part of the Challenger Series as well in the time trials, and was in the Pro Exhibition, so he deserves to be there, of course. 5 minutes left to go. Still only one person yet to set a lap, so let's hope he can get a time on the board as he heads towards turn 10 now.
He's invalid though, unfortunately, Hadler, in the Aston Martin. Not going too well for him at the moment. I imagine he'll probably just pit with this lap and just get himself onto the tyres, because you want to be going out in sequence here at the end, because you can't really get any space around here anyway. It's such a difficult track for a qualifying lap, and yes, he will just pit. There's no point standing out to try again, so he'll pit, and I'd be surprised if that many go out of sequence. Will is on an out lap though, so I wonder if he will be one of those that might just sneak through before everyone comes out and does their lap. So this could be All the focus on him now as he heads through this final chicane and prepares to start a lap. Unfortunately, I can't see how much time's left because I've got a yellow flag graphic. So it doesn't tell me how much time's left now, which is extremely useful for me.
It's
But,
not
well,
useful for us at all.
Yeah. Well, now it's great. It's yellow in both sectors now, 2 and 3, which is yeah, something I wish they could do with changing Codemasters. I'm sure they'll take some feedback on this. But well, Will heading through turn 3. Look out for a purple sector, I guarantee. Because as usual, the game will like to give purple sectors, but it's hard to really tell. He's up there on his own time, which is only enough for 14 fastest. But like we've said, all today, all last season, these guys are put into the right tiers. And even if it's F1 and F2, as Jess said, there were so many contenders, this will still be just as close as any other race. And so those couple of hundreds, as well, spins it through the gravel. Well, CCB, he won't be making any improvement now, will he? But as I was going to say, a couple of hundreds is a few positions, but a spin through the gravel is hardly going to help you on your course to that.
Nope, it isn't. Will G actually won in F2 in season 27. He won the Mexican Grand Prix, and that helped him solidify his place in F1 for season 28. And he definitely did enough to get F1 this season as well in season 29. So I wonder how he does with, I believe he joined VRT recently as well. He was picked up straight after placements as well. The boys there, I could see the manager in the show. He's also racing this season. In F2. It's going to be a battle of the esports team managers on the grid. We got Ash Best and we've got Kareem as well, so that should be interesting. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of esports team being represented in this grid. We got obviously VRT, Shizou, CRG, VSR as well, and I think F2 is a grid where these esports teams actually pick look at these drivers that are maybe not in a team yet, or maybe in a lower team, esports team, and think, hang on, they could be a star that we want to develop in the future and they can improve as well. We saw many drivers who were in F2 gone on to many big things, like we saw Vasa Race, for example, who was in F1 for quite a few seasons, actually got a seat as one of the development drivers for Mercedes, McLaren and Alfa Romeo. Don't know which one, but as well as Nicholas Matteo and obviously Jakey as well, all from PSGL, believe it or not. So it shows that PSGL nature everybody's talents as the final laps are coming through in qualifying, and you usually go through these as well. Anyone to pick out on to get pole position off of Juice, who is almost in the 113s but not quite. But I know a few people would probably pit them to the post with them being on low fuel loads right now.
It's just not possible to predict it. I'm not even going to try and make a fool of myself here. Let's just see how it pans out. I was watching Lars as he was going through the first chicane. He drifted all the way off the track, but he crossed the line with about 2 minutes to go, so he might well get another chance. I do believe the one behind him who's on a lap at the minute, as Jordan spins off, that's not going to help his lap. He might not get back round. As Benjamin, I believe, is the car next to finish lap. He's 4/10 up now on his last time in the middle sector. That 4/10 would put him solidly into the top 10, I believe, if he can just about keep it up as he heads through the last section now. Look at the way they take the chicane, by the way. It's so difficult to do this. As he slides in, he's taken it too much and spun round. It's such a tight chicane, and if you nail it properly, you make a 10th, and if you get it wrong, well, you've just seen the result. How about Corn? He is down on his time. I have no idea how long's left because of the graphic telling us on screen, but I don't see a checkered flag, so I assume he'll get another try. There's a proper traffic jam as well at the chicane as they all head through to start their laps. As Kazizel spins and he's into the wall, the McLaren and the Aston Martin go past, and a few drivers are making some crucial mistakes here. Juice has got a superb slipstream on the back of Ash Best. This could have pole position written all over it as he heads down towards turn 1. Let's see if we can find anyone else crossing the line to finish their lap. The other Alpine's gone off in Narnia and the session is now over. So, Daniel, the first to cross the line, is only 9th fastest. We've got a McLaren of Fabi. He's gone 7th fastest. George has now come around the final corner. Only 5/1000s up and doesn't improve his position. He stays in P8. Another car crossed the line. I think that was the Alpine that spun. And we've now got the Haas, if I can find him.
Danny
Crow. He's gone 2nd. Duncan has spun as well at the chicane. They're really struggling with this, Jess. It's incredible. How about Reese? He's coming around the final corner. He's up by a tenth, nearly 2 tenths. That might give him a couple positions. He does go up into P16. Next car, I believe that was Lou. He's gone 11th. And the Mercedes, having just spun, is not going to improve his time. Sanders heading through the last sector, but so is his teammate who's cutting the corner. That's not going to count. Hadler is slow as well, but his teammate, we saw that system he got down towards turn 1. Can he make it pay as he heads around the final corner? He's already on provisional pole. Juiced extends his gap. It's a 14-0 now as we wait to see who else is able to finish a time. There's not many more out there. I believe his teammate, like I say, is on a slow in lap, and I believe, Jess, that's everyone done. So Juiced is on pole by a 10th here in the Circuit de Catalunya.
The top 5, all F1 drivers, of course, separated by a few temps. I wonder how that's going to play maybe next week as well. That gives them some confidence as well. And then we've got some F2 drivers in the mix as well. And we saw that last season that some of the drivers in F2 were able to be in the top 10 in qualifying if they were in the F1 grid. So that's going to be pretty amazing. So we'll go through your qualifying results. We've got Juiced from Danny Ricco in second, Xander in third, we got MXI in fourth, Duncan in fifth, the highest placed F2 driver, Shizu Korn in sixth, Fabi in seventh, also F2 driver, George is in eighth position, we've got Hadler in ninth, Daniel in 10th, and then we've got Louis, Kazizzle, Jordan, Lars, Will G, Riz, Ashbest, Benjamin, CC Brain, and Izu. We only got 2 drivers who tried us out, put their laps on the mediums, and they failed. But apart from that, the top 18 separated by 8 temps, and the top 10 separated by 5 temps. But I have to give it to Juice with his amazing qualifying lap as well. He just missed out on having a chance to fight with Wilson and Duncan for the title in F1 last season. Could this be his breakthrough season? Because obviously Wilson's not racing this season in PSGL F1, so we could have some new title contenders already. But again, too early to predict because we don't have all F1 drivers, we don't have all F2 drivers.
Yeah, it's a bit of a split, as we've said already. But we're now waiting for everybody to choose their tyres. So those in the top 10, they were pretty happy with the softs then. So I do wonder then if they are looking at a 2-stop or if they can actually do soft to hards. It sounds quite unlikely. You can see in the Mercedes garage, Duncan, he's chosen the mediums. So I imagine quite a few, if they're outside the top 10, might start on the mediums. But and it's a bit good indication of how they're going to be tackling the strategies this year, because I think everyone wants more of these 2-stop races. A bit more entertaining for us as viewers rather than the easy 1-stops. But let's see what tyres everyone's going to choose. I'm seeing quite a lot of red obviously at the front, but it's all about those outside the top 10. Jordan, the only one to choose mediums, the rest on hards. That does look to me like they're all looking 1-stop then. Maybe apart from Jordan. But that could still be medium to hard, I guess, couldn't it? So, 1-stops all round, Jess.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think the most popular strategy from outside the top 10 would either be hard to soft or hard to medium. Some people said that it is possible to do hard to soft, but on the game for me anyway, I can't do it. But my time management is appalling and compared to some of these guys as well. But I'm intrigued on why Jordan has gone a tyre compound softer than everybody else outside the top 10. But I'm guessing he just wants to get his ground early on and make up some positions, because turn 1 can get very feisty and he could be the one to pick up the pieces, of course. Obviously, everyone outside the top 10 is on the soft because they qualified on them, and that's what they're going to be like for going into the race as well. I think most people only went on 1 lap on the soft, so they should be okay, and they should have enough pending any issue. I do believe there's open setups today. Most of the social races, pretty much all the social races, had preset setups because some people were new to the game and didn't have any setup. This is the first chance for them to actually try out some setups ready for the races. We're not racing in Spain this season, which, to be honest, I think a lot of drivers are relieved about. That's why, because usually in the pre-season races in the game cycle, usually they choose a track which is not on the calendar just for the drivers to get a feel, but not really practice for the season, but just practice to get a feel for the competitors in a way as well. So it is a warm-up, of course. The proper season in earnest for the PS guys, for the top tiers, doesn't start till Monday, but at least we at least the drivers will know who to watch out for in their respective tiers this season. But there's some drivers, obviously, that are not here that are watching this stream in earnest, as well as all the other commentators as well, making probably a few notes. I'll be almost certain making a few notes for this season, keeping an eye on who's to watch out for and who needs to improve a little bit. So we're about to start the final pre-season race of the season before the season gets underway in earnest next week.
Well, this is it then. Benjamin, the last car, lining up in the grid on his Alpine car. And when these lights go out, the last pre-season race will be underway. It's Juiced on pole. It is Dan Rico with him on the front row, and we are away in Spain. It's a very long run towards turn 1 here, so it's crucial to get a good launch. And you can see Dan Rico already having a decent start, having to be covered up by Juiced, who successfully held the lead into turn 1. You can see further back, we've got some side-by-side action. Is everyone going to be able to get through these first chicanes safely? Ferrari spinning, I believe that was also an Alfa Romeo. Daniel and George is off the track. How is everyone else doing? I believe the rest are all okay. They've recovered back onto the track, those two that went up. The rest are still going for it. Duncan and Xander are side-by-side as well. The Mercedes getting ahead of the Red Bull.
Yeah, good start from the Aston Martin drivers, and Duncan as well. He's quite a fast driver, so you would expect as well. Hadler gaining some ground as well. He's going side by side with the Williams heading towards turn 7. You don't merely overtake that. Usually if you're on the inside, you usually a recipe for disaster, but the Williams is saying, no, I want to try and get the move anyway, even though that they are in a different tiers. But he stays behind the Aston Martin on Hadler for now, currently sitting P8 and P9 respectively as well. Jordan's made some good ground starting on the medium tyres, so maybe it's a good decision for now, but towards the end of the race, everyone else around him will be on softer tyres, so he's probably going to make sure he has a better start to the race, so everyone else will have to work a little bit harder towards the end, heading towards lap 2. Oh no, we've got the timing glitch again. I thought we weren't going to get it. I thought we did well on that one. It was working all dandy, but no, we got the timing glitch. One thing that Cody's did not fix in today's patch, unfortunately, but at least it's not as bad as previous patches. At least it's bearable. At least the top 5 is okay. But anyway, Xander. Oh no, he's messed up again.
It's all over the shoulders, isn't it? Ah, Christ. The blue flags as well. They said they fixed that though. Remember, Jess? They said this last year. They put out a patch for this, and it didn't fix it at the time. Hasn't fixed it now, unfortunately. I believe Juice is still your leader from Dan Rico. I think that's what we can say. I'm not even going to try and pronounce whoever that is in the Alpine. Do you know what to say?
No, I don't know.
No.
Maxi,
Alpine
MSI,
man.
I don't, the Alpine driver. Well, he's in F1 this season, so I don't have to worry about the pronunciation
we
for
don't
him.
need to worry about him.
Yeah, the F1 comms will have to worry about it, but I'm sure they probably nailed the pronunciations better than us anyway, so they should be fine. Anyway, now we're heading towards lap 3. The DRS detection points will be coming, so hopefully it fixes itself. But I think that at least one thing it fixed, at least it doesn't give them DRS on the lap 2 anyway, as we're looking for more moves. We've got a massive train from first downwards all the way to Benjamin, and then we obviously got Georges and Daniels at spun. We got Reese and Ash Best as well. Ash Best has gone for the medium tyres, so he's pitted, whereas Georges and Daniel I think are just spun, so they're carrying on as well. But their soft tyres I don't think look very good, so I don't know why they're staying out, but at least they want to try and get rid of the softs really, really quickly before they either go onto the hards or the mediums. Some people may try for the 2-stop. It is not an actual race, even though it's replicating PSGL conditions. Like, there is a safety car this time, there is open setups, there is dynamic weather, but they won't be actually fighting for points, as it were, so they can go aggressive on the strategy as they like. Who knows, it could work for whenever we race at Spain next, which will most likely be season 30. No one making the blink yet. It is hard to overtake around here, and there's plenty of opportunities to do so if you can, but ideally you want to be near the front if you want to get into the podium. No penalties as of yet either, but knowing my luck, the drivers will probably get penalties right now, so I'm not going to say anything more. But Juice doing very well as well. I'm seeing position changes left, right and centre, with, I have to say, the biggest gainer is obviously Jordan with his medium tyres gaining up 4. CC Brain and Izyu, I think that's how you say it, gaining 5 places. But people inside the top 10, Handler gaining 1, Louis gaining 1, MXI gaining 1, and Duncan as well gaining 1 off the start, overtaking Xander for P4 as well. Xander's dropped down 2, and the biggest loser, George, is obviously with that spin. He's dropped down 9 places, and I will get the tyres up for you again. So it won't be that long before the soft runners go into the pits, because these softs don't last a fortune on this game. I think they last less time than the last game, so I think we're going to see more people going to the pits early. They last 8 laps, so similar to what you would expect in the Shanghai International Circuit, which is another track which is awful with the curves, in particular towards turn 13, so completely understandable. So let's see what I'm going to watch out Danny Rico in second place. He's doing a marvellous job trying to keep up with the Aston Martin of juiced up behind. He's definitely handling the pressure, and he's giving something for everyone else to talk about and proving why he deserves to be in the top tier this season. Haven't heard much of him the last few seasons because he's new to PSGL, but could this be the star of the future? Maybe could he be in F1 esports? We don't know. We don't know how old he is, but he's doing well anyway, and we've got a potential move from the Alpine driver to get into P2, but he couldn't quite do it on this occasion.
Worth pointing out that Juiced in the lead as we get the first few penalties has saved quite a lot of ERS as the Alpine goes off the track, recovers back on, still in third place. He's kept plenty of ERS at hand, so he seems to be happy enough to control this race from Dan Rico in second, who has used quite a lot more actually. But the closing speed looked pretty promising on the DRS straights. I'm sure if you want to go for a move, you should be able to relatively okay. But I don't think at this stage of the race you'd want to be doing that. We keep getting AWS graphics up saying that it's a 2-stop. Perhaps it might still be. Someone might try it. Maybe a lot of them will try it if they say it's working. It was worth saying as well that Ash Best did spin just a few moments ago. That's why he's so far behind the pack as Will gets past, because they're side by side through the old turn 10. The only thing we get to appreciate really about is turn 10. It's the last time we'll be saying it on this game. And I'm sure no one likes it though still, unfortunately, but at least you can get a bit of overtaking done through there. Back at the front, Juiced, as you can see, weaving a little bit on that straight just to help break the toe. Will Dan Rico be tempted to go for a move into turn 1? He does pull to the inside line, goes down the inside and is into the lead of the race in his Haas. So Juiced, who's been saving that ERS, what's he going to do now? Is he just going to sit back? Is he going to save a little bit more? Will he go straight back past? This is where we're going to start to see his racecraft come into its own. And it'll be a good chance for him as well to see just how he's going to handle these fights when the season starts proper next week.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing an incredible job so far, and it's definitely a great race to warm him up to fight against the likes of Juice, Duncan, Xander as well, and all the other F1 drivers on the grid. So he's doing well for himself. He's going to build that gap, and hopefully he could try and show to everybody that he could be potentially a championship contender. We got our first few penalties of the race. Hadler's got one, Benjamin's got one, as he just popped up, and Kazizel's got one as well. So we got 3 second time penalties. The black and white flags are still there on this game, which I love because it tells which drivers have a penalty and which drivers do not, of course. So expect the drivers that are on the hard compounded tyres to make those tyres last 20 laps, whereas the ones on the softs, they will have to pit around about lap 7, lap 8 to go on to their next set of tyres. The mediums last 15 laps as we got a move for Juice again. It's going to be like a ping pong battle between these two, but this time Juice got it before the DRS straights, before turn 1. So Juice, great move from him, back into the lead of this race. This is allowing the guys like MXI, Duncan to catch up as well, because the more that they keep switching positions, the more that everyone else is probably going to take advantage as they head towards turn 4, and the amount of time that they lose between the softs and the mediums is around 5/10, and between the softs and the hards is around about a second per lap, so that is interesting, and between the mediums and the hards around 5/10 per second, so not much compared to the last game, but obviously some drivers don't like Spain compared to the last game, as I don't as well. Jordan looks like he could go for a move on Hadler maybe, but no, he's a little bit too further back. Maybe MXI on Danielko. Probably not. They're just not blinking at the moment. As soon as someone else blinked to go for a move, then I would say there'll be more moves being made, I think, across the field. I think it'll be maybe next lap when people will start going for moves before they go into the pit stops. Maybe someone will probably go into the pits now, as that was a late move from the Alpine driver to go in, as Duncan goes in, Xander goes in too. So they're all going in a lap early for the undercut, whereas our leaders Juiced and Daniuko is staying out then. They probably wouldn't have predicted that those drivers will be going into the pits, but that was a late decision for the Alpine driver to be like, you know what, I'm going into the pits.
Well, he had to wait and see if the front two were going to pit first, and once he knew they weren't, he was then able to pull in. He has got out ahead of Duncan and Xander still, and he's got a good gap to race behind, so it's free air for these guys. They should be able to get to speed quite quickly on these hard tires. It only takes it 1 or 2 laps. Back up at the front, Juiced has used lots of VRS, as has Dan Rico. They've put their foot down, and Juiced is well off the track. Lucky not to end up in a spin there when you go wide at turn 9, but he's kept his foot to the floor. Still not setting personal best. You wouldn't do that near the end of the stint, but only 4 tenths off on the lap. You can see he's clearly pushing, but will it be enough to hold the lead when he comes out of the pits? Remains to be seen. Certainly feels like it's an in lap. You can see he's got his blue pit light on as well on his telemetry there, as he does pull into the pits. That bother gone after the Alpine knocked it down. Dan Rico follows. In as well, as is Fabi. Hadler will lead the race because it's his teammate, of course, who's pitting, and it makes no sense to double stack. So let's see if Jordan will maybe take this chance to maybe take the lead on these mediums. He decides he'll sit back for a little bit. But let's see who is going to come out ahead from the guys that pitted before and the guys that are in the pits right now. The Alpine of is MXL Biz. I don't know how to say your name, but he's into second place. Into second place, I can say that for sure. Izzo is just ahead of Juiced, and that might hold up the Aston Martin driver a little bit. Might give the Alpine just a decent chance, because remember, 1 more lap on the tyres. They're nice and heated up now. Might give them an advantage in that middle sector, getting closed up, possibly even have a chance down towards turn 1 if this works out well enough. But regardless, he's made a position up, and Hadler, I'd imagine, probably going to fall down quite far now. He wouldn't be in that scrap anymore, especially when he's being pressured this much by Jordan, who will lead this race. What's his strategy going to be like? Will he maybe get lucky with a safety car or something? But he will lead this race for a little bit. And Juiced all over the back of the Haas. Will he actually get through and towards turn 10? Haas is definitely defending the V2, and he's going to make Juiced go right round the outside. He tries to cut back underneath, but there's no way through, especially up the hill and towards turn 11. There's too much of a bump there, as Hadler does pit, so Jordan will take the lead of the race for Williams. And this is Juiced being perhaps a little bit frustrated, stuck behind, trying not to crash into the back of V2 as well, who will still be there as they head around the final corner. He's not needing to pit, he's on the hards. Way too early to pit. Can the Alpine have a try? Dan Rico's not really close enough, but this is going to be free wide towards turn 1, Jess, I reckon. Juiced goes to the right, and the Alpine, he's nearly off the track. He can't find a way through, and he's not been able to get the move stuck as Juiced goes into the gravel, and he's going to miss out. Surely MXL's going to go round his outside now. Isu still the car blocking both of these two. I reckon Juiced might just keep this lead though, as MXL, you'll surely be run out of room there. Juiced will surely just close that door on him, but he hasn't managed it. And Dan Rico will be all over this in a minute. His teammate's doing a superb job, because that's going to have Dan Rico really in this fight now as they head through the chicane. Time to be patient as you head up the hill. Is anyone going to wash out wide? So much dirty air in this section of the track, and you can see it with Juice. He just washes slightly wide, not able to take as much speed as he wanted to. He tried to move into turn 10 on the last lap. He's not as close on this occasion and can't find a way through, as around the outside Duncan tries now on Dan Rico. Surely he'll have to back it off, because on the way up the hill, like I say, too bumpy. You're asking to have an incident. Juiced is having his race ruined right now, being stuck behind, and Jordan's pitted. He might cycle to the front of all this, because this is such a slow train now. So let's look out for him as well. He's in his box, he's sticking the medium tyres off, he's putting the hard tyres on. Juiced is now trying to get past Isu again, and he will get it done this time. There's Jordan coming out. He will still be at the back actually, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. He might just be ahead of Korn, or he's just behind him actually, in the middle of the 2 Red Bulls. But Juiced finally gets himself through. A stressful moment of the race for him, and the Haas is now going off the track of Easty, so that will let MXL through too.
Well, I'm sure that Isu has done a good job trying to hold everybody else for the benefit of his teammate, but now he needs to potentially let his teammate by without losing position, which he does. So I think he was kind of doing a Fernando Alonso-X type of drive there in Hungary when he was trying to hold up Lewis Hamilton as well. And I was reading a tweet on Twitter saying Fernando Alonso actually enjoyed doing that as well to benefit, obviously, Esteban Ocon's win there. So I wonder if that was the same kind of vibes there from the two Haas teammates. I won't be surprised, even though they're not working together in the races. Duncan again trying to get a move past Izzo, which he does. So he's now in the back of this train. He's losing a bit of time as well as Jordan now gets past Korn. This is insane.
Jordan. Did you see that?
I was going on board actually. I should have gone the outboard shot, but Jordan is definitely one of the ones to watch in this race. If he gets past the Haas car now, he's one of the favourites as well. He's only won a few races in PSGL and he wants to add another one. Shane, this one is not going to count, but he's going to try and get past now. A little bit of a touch there as well, heading towards turn one, that Jordan executed perfectly as well. Jordan is driving for his life. He's gone off the track. He's got a penalty, so he's now on 6 seconds. Meanwhile, Louis gets past Benjamin up front, and that allows Korn to potentially close in on Jordan now as well. Korn has got no penalties to his name, so he's going to get into a great position too. We got Xander as well in this fight.
In the wall.
Jordan's in the wall in turn 4 and 5.
I don't know if he's damaged his car. I think he's escaped avoid any damage, but that is Narnia. Unfortunately, at the back of the train, Isu was also sent off the track, and so he's fallen behind Hadar and Fabi. But like I say, it's a shame that for Jordan, because he made such an opportunistic move on the inside of turn 11 and 12. He just threw his car in there. It was good driving from him until it went wrong. He went off at turn 1, went off at turn 4 as well. Don't know if he got a little bit of help into there. We'll see if anyone has any damage. I don't think there's any problems with anyone though at the minute. It means we can focus back on these front guys, because Juiced, well, he's very slidey out in the chicane. MXL, he's a different driver to Dan Rico. Maybe Juice doesn't know quite how he's going to drive just yet. Will he be tempted to go for the move? This is for the net leader race, and indeed, is MXL going to go through? Yes, he is. So Alpine, net leaders of this race.
Yep, Alpine playing it perfectly, and Jordan's out the race. Are we going to have a safety car? No, because he's pitted in the pit lane, so he's given up there, and unfortunately, but to be honest, every time I jinx a drive on, Benjamin's out the race. And he's binned it in turn 5.
That might be a safety car.
That is a safety car.
It is.
Oh, I timed that just right, but I didn't mean it to hurt another driver, so...
No.
Oh, my...
Lars. Look at Lars right now. These top 4, all from different teams. They're not going to have to worry about any stacking, but what do they do? Do they pit? Mediums won't make it to the end, surely, from here, will they? Unless the rest of them are thinking of doing a one-stopper. Or two-stopper, sorry, then well, this could be a golden chance, but I'm not sure it would work. Will anyone take a gamble on these medium tyres, Jess, do you think?
Well, to be honest...
Oh, they're pitting, they are going to.
Yeah, they are taking a gamble, because the mediums, I think, last 15 laps. I do believe they will have to pit again, so... I don't know, but you are going to be on a few laps on these medium tyres on reduced pace, because obviously the safety car is quite slow. So Lars has gone for the mediums because it's all pitted. I'm sure everyone's got a pit now, surely. Nope. The leaders are staying out.
And Duncan and Abby.
Wow.
Okay, we've got some split strategies here, folks. This is exciting stuff. So the front 3 have decided, I don't fancy it, as is Korn actually as well, Xander and George. But a lot of people are going to the medium tyres. They are confident that they can make this work then. And that could mean that Lars is suddenly our net race leader for Mercedes, with Kazizel, who was facing backwards, I believe, at turn 1. Was it him or was it Daniel? Actually, it was Daniel. It was him who was in qualifying. Yeah. And then Will, who does have a penalty. Kazizel and Will have penalties, but Lars certainly doesn't. And that is... yeah, that's just changed the complexion of this race. That was Benjamin in the wall on the exit of turn 4 that's brought all this out. He joins Jordan as the 2 retirements in this race. Ashbet's in the pit as well. So most of the grid now, only 6 are left on hards, and 7 now because Ashbet is onto them. So front 3, mediums, or hards I should say. There's 6th, 8th and 9th on hards as well. Then Ashbet's right at the back, he'll get to catch up too. The rest of the field are all on fresh mediums. mediums that they, of course, didn't really use in qualifying because they were all too busy qualifying on the softs.
Yeah, some of these drivers did not use it in qualifying. They had a spare set of mediums. So for the ones that did not use the mediums in qualifying, this could benefit. And for some of the drivers that want track position, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, I would say, with the likes of Lars and Kazizel. But their tyres are more durable, the likes of MXI Juice and Daniel Coe. So maybe that's why they're staying out, knowing that the tyres could last a distance. You never know. That's what I like about these safety cars. It definitely changes the strategy. And this is the first proper race in PSGL where we've had safety cars. I believe they trialled it, in Belgium a few weeks ago in PlayStation, but that's the only race they trialled it at. All the other races, including the PC ones, there were no safety cars. So this is the first time we get to see it in earnest on this game. I kind of wish we had the Aston Martin as well safety car, because it looks ever so nice compared to the Mercedes, but there we go. Still short with some drivers not pitting, and for Jordan, he's probably having a kick of the teeth. If it happened a lot earlier, he probably would have stayed out. He probably would have kept going and probably would have go back into this race, because like Kazizel, who's been having issues, but he's been climbing his way back up the field, he must be loving this. Same with Lars too. So it just goes to show that you do not give up with these kind of things as well, and you've got to plan for these safety cars, because you never know what could happen. There is a possibility of 5 safety cars and VSCs to happen in a 50% race, and this is one of them, of course. We've had no VSC yet. We just had a safety car, and a VSC could turn into a full safety car on the drop of a hat now, like on this game, which I kind of like, but it provides some uncertainty, of course. I kind of wish we had rain in Spain to fix it up a bit, but we are getting sunny at the moment, which some of these drivers are absolutely loving right now. But it is the Alpine driver that's leading the way. I don't think it's going to be that long before the safety car comes in, I don't think, because the field is caught up, and it does come in this lap. And I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so just quickly on penalties, by the way. Oh, we've had a collision with the front two, have we? Okay, both of them have 5-second time penalties. Right, so those 2 penalties. Is there any damage? I don't see anything on Juiced. But I was going to quickly say, Kazizel and Will have 6 seconds. The rest of those penalties are 3 seconds. And now the front 2 both have 5 seconds as well. Dan Rico might, well, be very happy to see that. Will Lars as well, I'd imagine. But let's see how we all do on the restart. It is MXL who's going to be the one who controls this as he heads through the chicane. I have a feel he'll probably floor it now. I don't think he's really got much more of an option, and he does floor it out of the chicane. And we restart the race in Spain. As we cross the line, no DRS for the first 2 laps, remember, so we won't get anything until lap 18. And Juice just weaving, no one pitted out of those 2, so they have no issues with the front wings or anything, just a small collision, I guess. As Will goes past corner into turn 1, already making those medium tyres work quite well, but the front 3, front 5 actually, all stayed in position for now.
Yes, especially the top 2 as well, despite those penalties as well. Daniel Coe did not take advantage of that, but he's probably happy staying where he is as well, because you don't really want to risk it and then you spin it yourself and you probably get a penalty as well. But you got to give it all the stops just in case you yourself might pick up one, because it's so easy to do around here due to the handling on this game. And there's also different damage models this game as well. People can get side pod damage too, rear wing damage, and also floor damage, which we've seen from a few PSGL races for the pre-season and social races. So let's hope these drivers don't have that at all, because that is unrepairable damage, and if you get those, then that's gonna hurt your race entirely. But if you just get front wing damage, it will still hurt your race, but at least you can repair it again as we're heading towards lap 17. And Lars with the freshest medium tyres and with the softer tyres as well. Again, he's not taking advantage either, with a similar situation to Lewis Hamilton on warm mediums in Monaco with Max Verstappen. He was able to hold Max Verstappen for quite a bit with the Warner tyres, and this is exactly the same what's happening here with Danny, Juiced and MXI compared to Lars, Kazizel and Will. So maybe those 3 should have just stayed on the same strategy, but they were side on hard, so the only choice they would have gone for was the softs, and softs only last 8 laps. So really, they shot themselves in the foot, and they were hoping that there wasn't going to be a safety car. And there was, but that's how the way things had turned, and you got to make your bed and lie on it, as it were. And let's see what Lars could do when it gets to the DRS straight, because that's going to be on lap 18, like he said. Lars will probably get the move there. Juice gets another penalty, so I don't know how many penalties he's on now, but he had the 5 seconds plus the 3,
8
so
seconds.
8 seconds worth of penalties. I think MXI's on the same. Danny Coe's on none, Lars is on none, Casizzle I believe is on 3, Will G's on 3 as well. So a lot of the grid are on at least 3 second time penalties, and it's not like he could get it removed because it is a pre-season race, as Lars had a big slide going towards that bump, which I have to say is awful. Don't know why that bump exists. And here we go, DRS enable then, this lap then. So Casizzle is looking a lot better than Lars this lap then. So this could be Casizzle's big chance. I do believe Lars is almost out of DRS, but he's not, so that's all good. And this is a chance for people to save their ERS as well in the last few laps in the safety car. Izzy, the Haas driver, who had a good strategy holding up his rivals, does get a 3 second time penalty as well. So he's dropped down into 15th position. And these drivers, they're just not moving. They're staying exactly as they are. And Casizzle was the only driver out of the lot to just really take advantage and potentially get the move. But he's not going to get the move yet. He's got to be within a few attempts, I would say, to get the job done. He had a bit of a slide through turn 8 towards turn 9 now. Now he's not too close to get the move, really. So, yeah, I think just wait until the latter part of the race where I think more people will be taking risks, I would say. Xander's looking good on maybe making the move past corn as well. So, this could be interesting. Louis looking good too. And I wonder if Doug has made the right decision to pit as well as Louis, because they already pitted once. So, I wonder if they think that the mediums would be the softer tyre to get them to the end of the race and they feel like they can push their way in the grid. It doesn't look like they have done so far, so maybe they should have stayed on the hards.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if the guys at the front start to struggle with their tyre wear, and then they can maybe have a chance. But I do sort of see where you're coming from there, because they are sort of stuck now, aren't they? And if it doesn't work, this gamble, then, well, yeah, they've lost, really. But we'll see how it develops. Because the safety car would have helped those medium runners, or the harder runners, to not pit again, as Louis gets dive bombed by Duncan, because Louis was actually trying to fake out Xander, and Duncan decided he was just going to take advantage of it, but they had a bit of contact on the exit of turn 5, and it ended up not working out for either. So they stay in position, 9 and 10. And let's say a lot of DRS trains starting, so it would take quite a lot to get a move done. Lars was all over the back of Dan Rico there for 3rd place. Dan Rico, who might well be driving a bit more conservatively now, because he knows that the guys ahead have got penalties, and so it's a race win there for him as long as he can hold this position. It's a long way to go though, 14 laps, and I think Lars had a better run through the last chicane. Dan Rico just about in DRS, but he's not going to get much of a slipstream, I don't think, as Louis has potentially had an incident, has he?
Yes.
Yes, he has. But he's recovered. He's last place. Lars doesn't get a move, but the 2 Red Bulls have swapped. So Xander is up into 7th now. Korn into 8th.
There we go then. So Xander finally triggering the move off of Korn. I wonder if that's going to trigger everybody else to make for moves too. I think I'm almost certain it will be the same for Lars as well, as I think Lars is quicker than Daniel Coe this lap as well, so this could be the chance that he's been looking for. He's been stuck behind Daniel Coe for the past few laps with that dirty air. Don't forget, dirty air reduces downforce, and this would not help you at all. And Juice has got another penalty. He's gone penalties galore. He's got to be careful that he doesn't get disqualified. You don't want to get disqualified, but luckily we only got 13 laps to go of this race, 14 laps to go of this race, so plenty of chances yet, but Juice is going to maybe drop out of the points if this grid still closes up, which is not ideal. So Juice has got to get a move on and maybe try and get past the Alpine driver, which he's not even close at the moment, so I don't think he's even going to get past. And Daniel Coe setting fastest lap, and I know he's going to be pushing as well. He's running out of ERS though. He's got the red flashing light for a reason. What about Lars? Lars is doing a lot better on his ERS. Meanwhile, Duncan goes side by side with Korn, gets past him into turn 1 there, making another move. So we'll see if he gets past Xander. We're seeing if any other drivers make past moves. I think that's the only move we've seen from some of these drivers heading towards turn 1, because you have the DRS straight, and obviously from turn 9 into turn 10. So I don't think you could get the move anywhere else apart from that midfield train when we saw with the Haas car earlier on in this race. I don't think there was any other moves you could possibly do as well. So Lars take 3, as it were, past turn 9 into 10. Let's see what he could do now. Slipstream galore. He's got the benefit of the DRS. And nope, he's not going to get the move. He's a lot closer on the hairpin, so I wonder if he's gone for a setup which is geared towards the corners, because it looks like that he's dropping down on the straights, but he's getting a lot in terms of these low speed corners. If someone's gone off, that is Kazizel.
Kazizel. He's recovered though. He's gonna set himself in P9, and well, he already had 6 seconds of penalties. That might be him finishing outside the top 10. Of course, there's no points up for grabs today anyway, but here comes Duncan Knight up into P6. Easy enough move when the guy at the head of the train hasn't got any DRS to use. And yeah, you can see that Duncan has got by both Red Bulls, one on the lap before and now one on this lap, so he's making good progress on those fresh mediums. But the problem he's got now is there's a 3.5 second gap up to the guys ahead, and they're all on a DRS train, so he needs them to start fighting a little bit if he wants to make this gamble pay off. But at the very least, he's now in a decent enough position to say that, well, it was worth trying.
Yes, and Duncan probably hasn't used that much ERS, and I would have thought he's on 70%. He's just used his overtake, and if the ERS panel on this game flashes green, that means they use their overtake. I did not know that on the spectator hub, but I just realised it. So learn something new every day at the moment. So Duncan, I would say, out of all the medium runners, I think he's doing a lot better job trying to get past the hard runners. So to be honest, if he's the one to challenge for the likes of Will and Lars when he catches up to them, which probably will be hard to do anyway, he could be the one that maybe challenges the front 3 if he could do it. Duncan has won a few social races this game as well, so he's continuing where he's left off. And Will dropped a little bit on Lars, so if he's not careful, he's going to run out of DRS, whereas Lars, again, not quite close enough, but again, looking good towards turn 2 and 3. And I thought Lars would take advantage since Danny has got little ERS to use, and the ERS management, if you use too much in the safety car restart and at the start of the race, then you don't have enough to recharge on this track to use, and I think that's what Danny Oco has got to do. But this is his first race properly with some of the top guys anyway, so he is getting used to battling with the best of the best. I'm sure he would improve within time anyway, but some of these drivers that are running out of theirs, they've probably used to these drivers more than not, so I probably would have expected them to be on much higher ERS, maybe around the 50s. If you're on the 50s, then you are pushing and doing something well, but if you're on the 30s as well, potentially you'll be doing well. But if you're below that or above that, you really need to be starting pushing on the straights, as I think Kazizel is back in this train again, which he is in, I would say, the train led by Duncan, and he's looking for a move past Korn. Now Kazizel again has got penalty, so little room for error, as it were. He's got to really get past now, so heading towards turn 1. He's got the slipstream. Can he go on the attack on Korn? No, he can't. He's a bit too further back to do so. Meanwhile, Haller gets past. George is up into 10th place already, so doing well on those mediums. Could get past Kazizel very, very soon, but George is not having the best of the races.
Well.
What happened?
I think he's hit Lars. He's just given up on it. He's retired as soon as he's realised he's going to fall to the back of the grid. And that contact, I believe it was with Lars, well, it's taken him out of the race. And he's left the session straight away, so he's clearly not happy about that. That shouldn't have been a safety car out, though.
No.
It depends on his car sort of sits there.
Nope,
But,
his car's
yeah,
gone.
he's just despawned. Yeah. So that now means Lars doesn't really have to worry about any pressure, because the car behind him anyway is his teammate. So now he can focus fully ahead on Dan Rico, who is still in the net race winning position. So he knows it. He only has to pass one more car. The 2 cars ahead have got 8 and 11 seconds of penalties respectively. So he knows that Danny Rico is his only real rival for the victory, and all he has to do is make sure he beats him. But he's now on less ERS than Dan Rico. So that's that situation. Juiced was all over the race leader, but didn't quite get himself through, as Duncan does pick up another penalty.
Yes, more penalties are starting to come through as we head towards the end. I wonder if people are not finding their rhythm a little bit. And we got another retirement. I think that's a pit lane retirement. So that's Louis out of the race as well. So I believe that's both of the Williams drivers. So both Williams drivers out of the race, as well as we've got Will Gini Apatari and Benjamin in the Alpine. So that still leaves 16 drivers, which is a lot better compared to some social races on PlayStation, where we've only had like 12 drivers, 10 drivers left, so they are taking it a lot seriously. Don't forget, they are running setups, most of these guys, so they're not. Some of them are not worrying too much about the understeer. Someone else has gone off. It's a blue car. Not sure quite what blue car it is, because it is hard to tell if it's a Williams or nope. It is a Louis. It's Louis AI. Okay, I was getting drawn to if it was another blue car, but it is, because MXI is still running in first place, doing quite well. He's pulling a gap massively to Juice right now, and Juice doing the same to Daniel Co at the moment. Lars again closing up on Daniel Co. I'm looking at Lars's car. Despite the contact he had with Will G, I think going into him, he doesn't have any damage by the looks of things, unless he's got a bit of floor damage, which is not repairable, of course. It is hard to tell with the graphics at the moment, but Lars is okay. And he's still challenging the front guys, so this could be, I think with the penalties, he could get P2 out of all of this.
He fancies the win, though. When it's right there for him, I'm sure he fancies it, but I just don't see how he's going to do it. It's so difficult to get past on this track, as you're saying with these trains, but I'm sure he'll give it a good try. Plenty of time still left in the race, at least. But yeah, well, we'll see how this pans out. But right now, that top 4 train are just sort of chilling for a bit. Juice has to get the pass done on FBR at some point soon, because he's going to want to still cross the line first. But yeah, we'll see when that happens. He has got the most ER out of his top 4 by some distance, Juice. It just seems that since that penalty, he sort of lost his head a bit, perhaps. Went a bit trigger happy on the penalties, and you can see how much he closes towards turn 1, but then doesn't make the move as Kazizel goes past Korn towards turn 1.
Yeah, so it's starting to see some more
and he's got another one.
Oh, he's got another one, yeah. So let me just actually get up the penalties for you. So Juice has got the most on 14, then we've got MXI on 8, and then we've got a few 6-second ones. We've got Duncan, Kazizel, Haller, CC Brain, Izu, and then we got 3 seconds from George's, Daniel, Riz, I think that's how you say it, and Ash Best. Everybody else is penalty free right now, but we can probably check the warnings as well to see if anyone is one short of getting a penalty, because if you get 3 warnings, corner cutting warnings, you do get a penalty. I won't be surprised if any one of those drivers maybe near the front are almost close enough to get a penalty, because if you get a penalty, that's pretty much your race victory over. As we got another spinner, that's Ash Best probably in the wall, and he's out the race.
As well, I think. Let's see, are they going to put any sort of safety car or even a virtual light for that? I don't think they will. They would have done it by now if they were going to, but I think that is an accident, like on that back straight on the exit of 9. Might be a bit similar to how Will spun off in qualifying. But regardless, that's Ash Best out. Juiced, again, just closes in towards turn 1, but then doesn't make a move.
Oh,
Dan
no!
Rico now has a penalty, so Lars is in the pine seats for the victory, unless of course he gets one as well, in which case then it's equals again with those two. But 6 laps to go. All Lars needs to do now, and he knows it now, is just keep it clean
and keep up with the pace of these guys, because if he spins, even if he doesn't get a penalty, then is his race over as well. And Lars, if I were you, I would give this opportunity to save your ERS, knowing that the guys around you are on penalties. And there's one other driver to watch out for that could be in a chance for a podium. Xander in P6, he's got no penalties. Korn as well could be in for the top 4, maybe even top 5 finish potentially as well. So that will be intense. We don't know how the order's going to shake up, because I can't do maths terribly. That's why I had to rely on some formulas on Excel to work out the championship last season for F2. So, because it was all crazy and all that. But luckily tonight we're not in that situation. We hope we get an close F2 championship like last season, because that will be amazing, as Kazizel's picked up another one. I believe that's up to 9 seconds now for the Ferrari driver. Juice looks like he was going to go for a move for the Alpine driver, but it looks like he backed off last minute. So he was quite comfortable, but again, he didn't want to potentially go for it. He didn't have the room, unfortunately, as well. Lars has backed off a little bit. He's probably read Michael, even though he's using his ERS a little bit. And once you get to around 10% ERS left, you lose a bit more power compared to if you're on 4 ERS or maybe 30%. So Lars has got to do a bit of saving if he wants to catch up to these guys, but he's in the danger of maybe even losing the win because he's just losing so much pace potentially. So maybe the memes are starting to die right now, and this could give the hard runners something to breathe perhaps, and maybe Xander could be on for a race victory. I did say at the start of the stream, did not count Xander out. So yeah.
Well, Lars did make a mistake on the last lap. That's why he's lost all this time. Because he had a mistake in the last chicane, just missed his apex a bit and ended up way off the track. And the problem is, that means he's now out of the DRS zone. And once you fall out of it, it's very hard to get back in. As you can see, he's now just stuck at that 1.1 gap. Still enough to win, I think, at the minute. But the problem is he'll have Duncan catch him now. When Duncan catches someone he hasn't got DRS, well, when he's done it before, he's passed people. Now Xander, as you say, Jess, is following onto this. And if these mediums are going to start to struggle, then these hard runners might be the ones to watch. And as you also said, 15 laps, that's what these mediums do. There are still 4 laps to go. Will these tyres make it?
It's a bit of a cusp, I have to say, as well. But don't forget they were in the safety car, so I give or take, I would say three extra laps these tyres can take in safety car periods. So I would say 18 laps. So I think they will be fine. I don't think they would have pitted if they don't think they were going to make it. But they're going to lose the optimum pace, I would say, maybe now as well. That's why Lars was making so many mistakes. Duncan potentially as well. And Xander's already caught up to the back of Duncan now. So maybe Xander could get past Duncan once more. And we will see what he could do as well. Maybe the best decision was to stay on the hards, but...
Oh, he spun! Lars is gone! Lars has blown it!
Lars has blown his shot of a victory by the very eyes, and I thought I saw someone else spinning, but it was Lars again, and Korn's also in this fight as well. He could be like, hang on, I saw Lars spun, I could get P7 right off this, so let's see, turn 1 he goes. He's right on the gearbox of Lars, but he couldn't quite do it. This is a great opportunity. Don't forget, I'm looking at the F2 drivers out of the ones who do not have penalties. Korn is the highest place at the moment, so my oh my, he could be a one to watch for F2 this season, I have to say. He could be the one to be challenging for race victories in the F2 grid, I would say, because this all will be challenging for one if we didn't get any penalties. Riz has got time penalties left, right and centre. He's on another one as well, so if more people getting time penalties, Lars gets another one as well. I believe that's his first. Yes, it is his first, so he is strolling out there. And Xander, if Xander wants that race win, he's got to move fast. I'm almost certain he could get a podium. Actually, no, he can't, because Duncan's 3.4 seconds behind Danielko. So, yeah, but you never know. Xander could...
Well, he'll get third place, won't he?
He could get third.
Place. If Xander can get by Duncan, he might win the race. But he has to get there first, and I don't know if he'll be able to do that. It depends on if Duncan's tyres fall apart or not. The final lap of the F1 race here, I think it was season 25 or 6, it was Danny Moreno right here where Duncan is. His front left blew up. So it does happen round here. It can go bang at the most terrible moment, but Xander does have a chance. If you've got no penalties, you've got a chance. As CC Brain has spun. So that's another medium runner making a mistake near the end of the race. They are starting to struggle for grip, absolutely. But we'll see how this all pans out. The front two have just so many penalties though. I do think it'll still end up going to Danny Rico for the win. It depends if Xander will get second place. I think he should.
He should.
But,
I think Xander will get at least a podium, I think. Because obviously everyone else has 6 seconds, 11 seconds, 14 seconds for Juice's sake. So yeah, Xander will get at least P2 if it stays like this. But Danielko definitely will get the race win. I'm just looking at, the gap is too much for Xander to get the win right now. But I'm sure he'll be happy with P2 with the grid that he's up against as well. And again, another decision made right for him to go to F1 this season. He's doing us proud as well. This is the last time we're going to be commentating on Xander. Here's Juiced on the Alpine driver. He had to make the move. Sam and Watt still going side by side. Final lap of this race, and they're battling as well. They waited until the last moment to do so as well. I know they won't be fighting for the win generally because they've got penalties. We're heading towards turn 4 now. This could be a chance for the Alpine driver to get past Juice into turn 5 as CC Brain's out the race as well. So we're already down to 14 drivers, but this is shaping up to be an intense finish, even though these drivers are not going to get points out of this as well. Daniel Coe could get the win on track, but if I was him, I would not risk it. Duncan as well, within 3 seconds of Daniel Coe as well, even though Duncan's got penalties as well. Xander, I think, just backing off, knowing that he will get the places of penalties anyway. So there we go then. Final few corners of this race, and it looks like Juice will get the win on track.
Yep, here he comes. He's in the final sector now. Bided his time. We knew he had the move in him as the Alpine actually goes well wide of the chicane. Danny Rico might have a chance of getting him, but regardless, here comes Juice to cross the line. He will be first to the line, but I believe our winner is Danny Rico by 7.5 seconds. It wasn't even close. Xander should jump to second. He has. Only 1.5 seconds off the lead, but look, it was enough for Danny Rico, and Korn completes the podium for Red Bull. Duncan ends up P4 and Lars in 5th. And Carnage.
Demolition derby, I would have to say as well, and quite a close finish due to the fact that there was a safety car, and the game is given Lars driver of the day, and I was not expecting Lars to be up there, but that safety car played well to his hands, but I think the mediums just didn't quite cut it for him. He was struggling at the end there, but it's a driver who finished quite well last week, and he's topped it off with a win as well, so brilliant stuff. If you're watching the F1 race next week after ours, watch out for this man in the house. He's definitely one to watch for this season. And he could be the one that... He could be a Sparks at the end of the day. The driver that hit the ground running from day one in PSGL. And he could be the one that could be challenging for titles in many seasons to come. Maybe this season. Maybe we could see what a few drivers have done in the past win the title on debut. We will see. He's proven it today. Despite the penalties, Xander in P2. Korn in 3rd, Duncan 4th, Lars 5th. We got an all Dutch 3rd, 4th and 5th place there. That's great to see. And we got MXI in 6th, Juice in 7th, George is in 8th, Daniel in 9th, Fabi rounds up your top 10. Only a few drivers have walked into this race with no penalties. Fair play. Cazidle just misses out on points. Riss in 12th after all of that. Hallow in 13th, Izzo in 14th, but then your timers are CC Brain, Ash Best, Louis, Will G, Benjamin and Jordan. So Jordan was very unfortunate after an incredible comeback earlier on in the race. He had a good start as well, but that is racing unfortunately, and that rounds off the pre-season race for season 29, and that makes us very excited for the season opener very, very soon. And I don't want to predict too much here, like we said, because this could all change when we head to round 1 in Bahrain, because it's such a different track.
This is it. It's almost another reset, but at least some of the drivers have had a chance now to see how they stack up against the others. It should still be a very good race next week, so do be tuning in to all the races. As we said before, all that's kicking off on Wednesday, I believe, with the PC tier, so we're very much back now. This is the end of all the pre-season boredom. Let's get ready to properly race for this.
Yes, and we'll talk about the actual start of the season. We've got 3 spectacular races, actually. I did look at the calendar and I was very excited about what we got on offer. So I will get the preview going into this month. We've got Bahrain, like we said, to kick off the season. And we've got France for round 2, which always provides great races in PSGL, Blizzard being the king of France, I have to say. In the F1 side at least, and then Belgium for round 3, and again Belgium usually a crazy race for F2 as well. We saw Will Murdoch win in season 26 on the first Belgian race in the last game cycle, so crazy things have happened here as well. So I need to actually remember what when the races are on the PC, because I always get the timings wrong, and I hate doing this, so I'll have to get it up in our tracks, and I'll get it right. So it starts off with the F3 tier being streamed on PC at 7 o'clock, with Jackson commentating that. And then we got the F2 tier at 8 p.m. with King Kodiak and Dan V8 Field. And then we got F4 and F5 on PC as well at 8 p.m, but that's not being streamed. And then we got the F1 tier. Oh, I would like to call it up in the esports tier, I would say. But yeah, that's at 8 p.m. on 7 p.m. I almost got it right, but it's 7 p.m. Thursday. I believe one-shot qualifying is back on Thursday, so that's exciting. George Morgan and Jack Canam will be in the commentary box for that one. And we also got F13 at 7 o'clock and F12 at 8 p.m. on that day. And on Sunday, we got F11 and F10 and F9. And on Monday as well, all the goodness happens. We got us, of course, at 7 o'clock. The stream to be on a Monday night, I have to say. And we all got F3, F4 and F7 on the same time as us. And then straight after us, we got the top tier of PlayStation. We got 8 p.m. F1. And we also got F5 and F6. So plenty of action to watch. Make sure you join us for the first stream Wednesday night, 7 p.m. for F3. Make sure you give them the love and support as well. And then we'll be back same time, same place for the F2 tier at 7 o'clock. And it'll be a pleasure for you to join me in the commentary box once again next week. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to be here. Hope all of you will be here as well. It'll be a fantastic race. Looking forward to it.
Yes, we will see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'm excited for the first round as much as I do. So have a good evening, everybody. And for the PlayStation side, we will see you next Monday for, if you want to watch F2, watch F2. If you want to watch F1, F1. It is entirely up to you. But anyway, have a good evening. Goodbye.